Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today is going to be a sculpting video. I'm going to go through the process of sculpting these penguin feet for the king penguin chick that I made for Calgary Zoo. The video of me making the doll is my previous video. I try to remember to link it below, but I never do. So if you want to see how I made the doll, check that out. But if you want to see how I made the feet, then just keep watching. Okay, so the zoo requested a king penguin chick to be roughly 50 centimeters in height, so I had to sort of stick to the height of what the zoo requested. So I needed to use some reference images. So basically what I do is find a reference image of the full animal, and then I usually import it into Photoshop and blow it up to the size of what it's needed. So in this case it's 50 centimeters. So I'm able to find some more images of king penguin chick feet, or even king penguin feet. And that way I can compare it to my reference image that I've blown up to 50 centimeters and basically keep it the rough size that it needs to be sculpted. So I have that to my left on my computer, making sure I reference those images every time I'm sculpting a new bit. And also putting up the sculpture to the size of the reference image as well, to make sure all of the dimensions are correct and the symmetry is right. So for this whole doll, I'm using polymer clay, so I use Sculpting Original. There's different kinds of Sculpey, but I prefer to use Sculpting Original just because it is a little bit softer to work with. I like working with softer clays personally, but you know, people like working with harder clays. The thing with softer clays, once they're baked, they are a little bit softer than harder clays as well once they are baked, so it's easy to sort of chip away at them, easier than Super Sculpey or Sculpey Firm. But I personally like to use Sculpting Original, so just have a go at different types of Sculpey and see which ones you like, or even Primo or Sculpey 3. There's heaps of polymer clay options, so I'm sure you'll find something that you like rather than Sculpting Original if you don't like using that. But I like the fact that it's white as well, so it's easy to paint on, and there's no like trying to cover clay colors. So with the beige one, I sort of find that it's a little bit harder to cover with paint, but Sculpting Original is really easy to cover with whatever paint you want. So basically I'm roughing out a shape of the king penguin foot. I'm doing both of them at once so I can try and keep the symmetry and the dimensions right. And then I'm subtractive carving the details onto these feet rather than adding it. I've done it both ways, but I just thought for these ones, because the king penguin feet have like little webs between their toes, I thought it would be easier to subtract, carve, and just add any little details that I need to add when I'm sculpting and finishing off the process. So I'm using a little loop tool, and I'm creating those little crevices by raking it through and just taking off some of that polymer clay. I'm also removing polymer clay around the side to make it more foot-like and less round, I guess. And I'm also using a little needle tool to sort of blend in areas and little crevices and stuff as well. So I have a video over on my Patreon about creating rake tools as well. I go through the process of making one, not a loop tool like this, but a rake tool. So head over there and you'll get access to it for $5 and up, and a whole lot of other videos as well. So if you're interested in how to make tools yourself, I also go into detail about how to repair this tool because I broke it. And go into a little bit of detail about the process of repairing this tool as well. So you can head over there if you're interested in that. So basically I'm just working through the process of just roughing out the rough shape of the foot and adding any little bits and pieces that need to be added to make a better shape. Okay, so at the beginning, you saw me make the little claws for the penguin feet, so I made 6 of them. They haven't been fired yet or baked in the oven or anything yet, so it is easier to adhere it. I didn't think it needed to be hard to put them into the actual sculpture, so I didn't think it would be much of a problem not baking it in the first place. So basically I just used my little ball tool to create little wells that I can place the claws into. I think this worked really well, and then roughly cutting out the shape at the end of the claw to stick it into the well, and then blending the polymer clay together so it adheres both sides. And yeah, I think that worked really well. It's a good process. If you're worried about doing thin claws or nails, I'd recommend sculpting the claws to begin with and then baking them in the oven so they're nice and solid, and that way you won't get any sag or lean or damage it with your tools or knocking it or anything like that. So if you're having trouble doing that, I recommend baking it first. So once I'm happy with the basic shape, I tried out a couple of little techniques of making the scales, and what I liked. The first one, I just created like little round circles using my ball tool. I didn't really like the way that turned out. It wasn't achieving the raised details that I liked, so I ended up using my ball tool to smooth it out. The next technique you can see here, I am trying the end of a toothpick. I thought it was working really well, and then I decided that I didn't really like the texture of it. It wasn't exactly what I was going for, or it didn't really look exactly like king penguin chick feet. So I mean, it works really well if you're doing other types of bird feet, so fantasy feet and stuff like that. I think this technique works really well, but I ended up smoothing it out again and trying a different technique, and I wanted something with a hole in the middle so it would have like a raised indentation in the middle of the circle. So I just tried a pen, and it's one of those push pens that you can retract the point, and I think it worked really well. It kind of made the details that I was wanting. You have to be careful that it doesn't look too uniform or like circle-like, I guess. So I sort of did a rough impression on it rather than doing a solid impression, but I think this technique worked really well, and it was going to work for my painting technique that I was thinking. So if you look at a king penguin chick, you can see that the undertone is like a grey colour, and then the feet over the top is black. So I wanted the grey to stay in the indentations and the black to be on top, so there's a little bit of see-through. But I have that whole painting process over in the king penguin chick video as my previous video, so I think this technique worked really, really well. It was really easy to do as well, and all you need is a pen. So the last thing I do was adding the little details on the bottom of the foot. I just had a little look at some more reference images, and needed to add that little bit of detail. So basically the same process. I roughed out a image, a shape that I want to put on the back of the feet, and then I added all these little worm things to make the little, I don't know what you'd call it, stops or something. I don't know, but I added these little worm things to each one of the toes, and then added the details from the pen on top of the new clay. And that's pretty much the whole process of sculpting the penguin feet. Give it a go. It works for any type of bird feet. You just need to change the shape basically, and definitely try out some different types of polymer clay, or even air dry clay. And if you want to just experiment with some sculpting techniques, get yourself a tub of monster clay. It's reusable wax-based clay, so you can play around with it and see what works for you, and learn how to sculpt and do different types of techniques, and then you can just melt it down in the microwave and start again basically. So I think it's really great. I personally love working with monster clay. It's my favorite medium to sculpt with, but like I said, it is wax-based clay and doesn't go hard, so it's really only good if you're casting things. So I really hope to do some more sculpting videos once all of these commissions are done and the zoo orders are done. I can get on with making more videos about sculpting and different techniques and stuff. So hopefully look forward to that. Leave in the comments if you want any particular video, and I will note it in my notebook. But anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. You can head over there, you get access to a whole heap of exclusive videos and content. Link is in the description. You can check me out on Instagram and Facebook at Creatures of Nat, and my shop creaturesofnat.com, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye. you.